12 and a half, get you a quarterback. I got them shits flying like spirals. I like my truth uncensored. I got them shits flying like spiders. I like my truth uncensored.
Welcome to another episode of the Uncensored Truth Podcast. I am your brother, old guy from Hip Hop News Uncensored. And sitting across from me is my co-host.
What it do? What's good? It's your brother Sam and Viral Hip Hop News. It's a Thursday with a beautiful Thursday. It is another episode of the Uncensored Truth Podcast. Oh God, what's good, my brother?
What up, man? What up, Sam, man? We definitely excited to be back in the building for this Thursday episode of the Uncensored Truth Podcast, man. I want to say peace to all the people out there. We had a little break yesterday, but we back in the building, about to go harder than ever, man, like we always do over here. But definitely, Sam, man, how was your day off yesterday, bro?
It was cool, man. Got a great workout in, enjoyed the great weather, chilled out with the kids. But I'm always excited to come in here, man, and get to the people. Love all the damage we're doing on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, and all major online outlets. I like looking at the numbers on my days off, doing analytical shit.
Yeah.
And we're doing great over there, man. Salute to everyone that's subscribing, everybody that's sharing, watching, and of course making them comments. And yeah, I'm happy to get back here. We've got a dynamic episode today.
Yeah.
Oh God, give him the lineup, man.
We're gonna be talking about Cassidy. You know, we knew he had a battle here with Goods. He did an interview with This Is 50, said a few things about Gillie. Now Gillie responded via his Instagram today. We're going to talk about that because we actually had Goods on our program. Right. We would have liked to have got Cassidy on, but it is what it is in that regard. But we want to talk about that again because it's starting to, flare up a few things there. Also, Katt Williams, did an interview where he talked about losing a large sum of money. Also, the Philadelphia Eagles, fly. My man, Chris Long, just retired, former Eagle now, but he won a Super Bowl with him, just to let you know, opened up about his marijuana use in the NFL. That's going to be a real dope discussion. We're going to talk about that today, as well as a few other topics, that's going to pop up here, I'm sure. And I'm excited to get to it, man. Also, just let everybody know if you're listening, Friday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on YouTube, the Uncensored Truth Podcast channel. Me and Sam Matt will be live doing our live episode every Friday night at 8 p.m. So make sure that y'all check us out. But let's get it, man.
Indeed, man. Salute to everyone that's watching. Let's go. No, you came in the crib, came on set. Yeah. And I'm watching something. You like, yo, did you see that Gil shit? Gil snapped. I'm like, nah. And you show me. So, man, get into it, man. What happened? Let the people know. Well,
we watched the battle. Everybody's seen the battle. A lot of people thought Cassidy won. Some people thought that Goods won. I think more people thought that Goods won. We said to Goods when we had him on here, we thought he edged out Cassidy about 2-1 in that battle. Cassidy, what you going to play his clip? He went on This Is 50 and he spoke about Gillie, pretty much saying that he thought that Cassidy lost the battle, and then Gillie responded today. So let's play what Cassidy said real quick, and then we're going to play Gillie's part, then we're going to rap about this whole thing that's going back and forth. So let's go.
Like, for instance, I was watching a video. It was with Gillie. He actually did an interview with Goods, and Gillie was saying, "I wanted Cass to win. Like, I'm rooting for Cass. That's my hometown. That's Philly. I'm even being biased. Nobody's fucking with Cass, but Gillie, and I quote said, Philly, we got to take this L. Your boy lost." Like, what do you say?
Gillie ain't even see the battle, man. It's like, y'all niggas be talking about these niggas. These niggas don't even judge battle rap. I've never seen Gillie judging no battle rap before.
Fair enough.
He ain't even fucking see the battle. He probably just heard a bunch of niggas like, yo, Cass on the stage, people screaming out 3-0 with some people in the front booing, and he probably just took it like that and just like, oh, he lost. He didn't even see the battle. He don't know what's going on. He ain't heard none of the bars. And you know what I'm saying? It don't even matter what Gil said. It's like at the end of the day, I clearly bodied that man. It's like anybody can watch it for themselves. Pay-per-view still available. Watch battlelive.com. You can still get the video on demand. In the meantime, in between time until the battle drop, you could also go to Rap Genius and all of these different sites that's writing the bars out so you could read it and clearly see who better.
I didn't even know they did it. That's dope.
Well, I bought that to battle rap. Okay. That's why I'm shipping.
All right, so that's pretty much in a nutshell what he had to say in regards to what Gillie had to say to Goods.
Right.
So Gillie had a response.
Yeah, we're gonna take a listen to this real quick. Here's Gillie responding to that clip there from Cassidy.
Let me speak on this Cassidy and Goods battle, man. Before Cassidy and Goods actually battled, I seen Goods face to face. I told him, you ain't got a shot, homie. You gonna be easy work for Cassidy. And then Cassidy got down to Atlanta and laid a shitty brown egg. Nigga all on stage arguing with the crowd. How is y'all boy the greatest shit on planet Earth? This the greatest shit that was ever said by me. Well, obviously they didn't feel that way. When you first started off, they was clapping for you. By the third round, they was booing you. Any nigga that got to argue with the crowd on stage lost. And now you doing interviews disrespecting me, man. Didn't you try that shit before? Didn't I go to your block? Didn't I catch your ass backstage at Powerhouse? It was just me and my wife. You was with 50 niggas. Didn't I call all y'all niggas ducks and bitch ass niggas and not one of y'all attempted to lift a finger? Huh? The whole city know this. Cosmic Care was a witness. 50 Cent was right there watching. Swiss Beef was a witness. Let me tell you something, man. Just because I'm out here and I'm being a leader in the community and I'm being a positive role model for the kids, don't disrespect me, man. Don't make me update my work on you, boy. Because you know I catch your ass and I check your temperature. And I take that motherfucker from 100 down to room temperature real fast, man. If you ain't got nothing to say positive about me, man, don't mention me at all, man. And if you do mention me, nigga, fix your energy, nigga. Because if me and you was face to face, you know goddamn well you wouldn't have that energy, boy. Stop playing with me, man. Don't make me update my work on you, man. Right.
All right, so that's Gillie, via Instagram today. He left that statement, out there, man. What's your thoughts on this, dog, Sam, man? What do you think about this? First of all, what Cassidy said to Gillie in his response.
Cassidy, well, we watched that before in our pre-production meeting. We watched the whole thing. And I thought, I didn't really think much, but just watching it just now, I kind of got an epiphany. Cass is still promoting the battle. He's still promoting the fight. A lot of people still haven't seen it. You hear the whispers and things like that. And if you haven't paid the money or you haven't had a way to see it, then hey, he's still trying to promote a fight. He's probably getting a little bit of the money from it. I don't know. But he asked, did anybody, when's the last time Gillie ever judged a battle? My question to Goods was, I think they need judges because we would get a definitive winner. Who's ever judged a battle? And who's to say that Gillie watched it or he didn't? This is my issue with Cassidy, because I agree with everything that Gillie said about the battle. First off, when he said to Goods, he thought that Cassidy was going to cook him, because that's exactly what we said. In fact, Cassidy himself posted it on his Instagram that we didn't even know who Goods was and things like that. Goods, you know what I mean? He came and talked to us about it. We joked and laughed about it. Everybody saw it. So we said that he lost, or we said that he was going to lose to Cass. We watched the battle. We had to take that on the chin. Damn. No, our man lost. Yeah. And we told Goods that. Yeah. But it doesn't seem like Cassidy, for some reason, wants to accept that point. Or if he does, he's still trying to promote it. But I mean, Gillie he took exception to what he had to say.
I definitely, agree with you. But I mean, the promotion, that's one thing, but I don't agree with Cassidy saying that Gillie don't have a right to judge.
No, not at all.
He definitely got a right to judge, just like anybody does. And just keep it a buck. A lot of people seen it, bootleg, you know what I mean? And some people brought the fight that you can still buy it. So I encourage everybody to buy it. So I'm pretty sure the dude seen it.
Gillie saw
it. Or had people like he alluded to that was there that was seeing it. And to me, it was obvious, who won. We said that we thought that Cassidy lost 2-1. And it is what it is, man. Sometimes I think that it's hard, even though I love Cassidy. That's my dude, going all the way back, from the Rough Rider days, and even before that. It's just like it's hard for people to admit that they took a L. I think, and had no problem saying this, that Cassidy lost this battle. For him to come at Gillie, even though he kind of sidestepped, he didn't come directly at him. It was enough disrespect for Gillie to G-check him and say, yo, you already know what we've been through, dog. So don't even, try to go down, that road. Don't disrespect me like that.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, and I think that's going to stay where it's at. I think Gillie said what he said.
Yeah.
I think that'll be
it's not going nowhere. Yeah.
Let's talk about battle rap in itself, though, because Cassidy was talking and making some points on how he kind of elevated it and made it, to his game. And he changed the game on his battle with Goods and things like that. But a lot of the battle rappers and a lot of the things that they pride themselves on are looking truth in the face and admitting when they took an L in situations. You'll see very little time where a battle rapper will go on and said, I didn't. I won that. No. When everyone thought you lost. If one thing they're prideful on, if not having judges, they'll judge themselves as equal as they can. Is Cassidy kind of messing up the game in a sense by not admitting that he took defeat? And because I mean, what battle is he's 5,2-0 right now,
right?
And
I think that's a part of his persona. He has to, but I think this battle, you know, in my opinion, was convincing enough that you can't pull that stunt. You know what I'm saying? It's like, you know, people seeing what they seen, and it's set up. It's set up since we don't have judges, and it's for just everybody's opinion to be like this. That's why it sucks. So we didn't have an official judging, whether it be a poll of the people combined with experts on the panel, whether it be whatever they have, you know, judging the thing. We didn't have that. So now it's left up for everybody's interpretation to say this and say that. But, you know, in my opinion, I thought Goods won. A lot of people thought that Goods won. Some people thought that Cassidy won, in my opinion. I think that is what it is. Messing it up, I wouldn't say that. Even though that's a great point you bring up about as far as people, you know, taking it and manning up and admitting it. But I don't think that he would ever, because his ego won. And I genuinely think that he thinks that he won that battle. I genuinely think he thinks that. And it's to me, it's like, I don't ever expect him to say that he lost. I just don't. Him being Cassidy and me knowing him, I just don't.
This is another thing I want to kind of extend on, because this is what we were kind of talking about, you and I, into the promotion and up leading into the fight, into the battle, excuse me. We were talking about bars versus crowd versus persona versus all of that. And I was saying that I think that Cass and his delivery may not reach the crowd the way a lot of these battle rappers are, because it seems to be somewhat dated. And a lot of people don't feel that way. A lot of people, as well as Cass, feel like bars are the only thing that matters in battle rap, and that a lot of the show and a lot of that it takes away from it. You watched the battle, you seen it, being one of those people that thought bars would matter. What is your perspective on that now?
My thing about this battle, I was thinking that, but I don't think that it mattered here. In this particular battle, I think Cassidy, he had the cadence and everything to challenge. The reason why I think that he lost this battle is because of the stuff that was said, the bars, the content. I think that Goods had more hard-hitting, relevant content. Cassidy even admitted it, that he didn't have nothing on Goods. Goods had a whole plethora of things, a bag he could just pick and make it stick throughout and make it, you know, resonate with the audience to where now people yelling 3-0, people saying all this. So it's just like, yeah, if Cassidy would have maybe had more dirt, because that's what it's about, exposing, getting at him, you know, tearing this dude down pretty much, or whatever you could say about him, and proving that this nigga ain't real in front of you. If Cassidy would have did a better job, you know, of arranging it that way, because it kind of seemed like that it was kind of for anybody, because it was even points where he was looking at the crowd and going, as opposed to just digging in Goods. And the analogy, I can make a physical analogy, is like you punching like this, Cassidy's punching like this, Goods was punching like this the whole time. So that's why I think he lost, because of the content, not because of anything else, but with the content of what Goods was saying. It was hitting, it was resonating with the damn crowd.
Let's talk about the crowd. Let's talk about the crowd, because this is one thing I would have loved to ask Cassidy. And that's why we wanted him on there, because a lot of people were mad about the crowd. They're booing him. They're not giving him a fair shake. They're not fucking with him. And watching the battle, they rolled with him in the first round all day long.
Good point.
And it was dope. They had every reason to. And it seemed as though they turned on him on the second and third round. And a lot of people were saying it was a bunch of the battle rap community up in the first row kind of trolling Cass because of everything he said about him. And just the crowd itself was anti-Cass. Goods, we asked him that, you know what I mean, person to person. And he said the Cassidy's fans were leaving. They weren't responding and liking what the fuck was going on stage, and that they were leaving. I would have loved to got his perspective, because I wasn't there. But what do you think about that, oh God? Did the crowd mess up Cass, hurt Cass? What do you think about what Good said about that? Because me and you never really talked about that.
Well, they were there. I mean, you know, I would like to talk to other people from, you know, that arena, because we know from the angle we seen, we're not in the crowd. We can't get the, you know, we can hear, but being there is totally different aspect. So, you know, I'm kind of inclined to go with, it was kind of a mixture of things going on in there. I'm sure there was people in there going at Cass. I'm sure Cassidy had his people, but the thing about Good saying that Cassidy's people left, I'm not going to argue with him and say that he lied about that. You know what I mean? I don't see why anybody would lie about that. I would like to hear what Cassidy,
exactly,
was gonna say about that,
right.
But before I would go, all the way in and say, okay, this is definitively happening, because Cassidy may come and say, nah, my people wasn't leaving. But if your people were leaving, and if it was because of your lyrics, that's a bad thing.
You know what's crazy to me? And a lot of people, when people are going to say this all throughout the comment section of this video, I guarantee it. Goods ain't got no bars. Goods bars were trash. Cassidy had all the bars. Cassidy bars were way better than Goods. People didn't understand Cassidy's bars. Bars went over their head. And this is my response before I want to get your responses. I know no one took away from Cassidy's bars. Cassidy's one of the greatest delivery or one of the greatest lyricists, bar givers of all time. Of all time. He has cooked plenty of niggas on the battle rap stage. Maybe not on camera, but you can't sit back and tell me that he hasn't had his share of battles. We all remember how they used to do back in the day. Your label would take their best rapper to this spot and you had to go duke it out. And sometimes the shit wasn't on camera. Sometimes we got it. And so no one's taken away from Cass. But in today's age, I don't know what you think.
I mean, I think that, again, it came down to Cassidy. It sounded good what he was saying, but it didn't. In the first round, he had him, and I think that even Good said that maybe Cassidy, he should have did a better job of spreading out, his attack, as if he kind of like let everything go early on. But again, I think, I just think I got to be real. It hurts me to say this because I said that Cassidy was going to win this. We said it.
Yeah, we argued
I would have put money on it. I would have
Mm-hmm.
put any amount of money that Cassidy was going to cook this dude. But it's just like when you watching football or boxing is a better way. You say your dude's going to win, and he goes in there, he's getting his ass kicked. All you could do is say, well, damn, dog, you lost. Just like sometimes you might just lose. You get up, you come back and do better, and hopefully you beat the guy the next time. So I just think that Cassidy had good bars, but it wasn't enough to move the crowd. It wasn't enough to dig in Goods' chest like I think that Goods, dug into his. In my opinion, a lot of people may come and say, nah, they think that Cassidy killed them, but that's just my opinion. I got to be real about it.
There was a lot of battle rappers.
Cassidy fan.
Right. There was a lot of battle rappers after the battle that said there will never be another mainstream artist. Now, we got Cassidy, we had Joe Budden, a couple other, not a lot, but a couple others that came into the battle rap arena. There'll never be another one again because of what happened against Goods versus Cassidy. What do you think about that? And do you ever want to see Cassidy battle again based off of what you saw?
Yeah, I would like to definitely see him battle again, because I think that Cassidy probably can beat Goods, possibly. If he tweaked a few things. I'm not a battle rapper or nothing like that, but I just think if he was able to hit him in different, with different, it's almost like I'm just used to the Eminem thing. The 8 Mile, and we see that, and it's like you got to tear this dude down. That's what battle rap is. So it's just like if you're doing anything less than that, and he's doing that to you, you lost in my book. And I think that it was like me and you. And we supposed to be battling each other, and I'm tiptoeing through the tulip, and I'm talking about my car, all this other shit. Now I'm supposed to be going in on you, ripping you. That's just the way I see it. Anything outside of that, I just can't go with the dude. It's hard, man.
I hear you on that, man.
Definitely.
I mean, it is what it is. We would love to have Cassidy on here to talking to him about the situation. I would love to see him battle again personally. A lot of the reason why, and it was funny you said this, because you were saying maybe he had to tweak some things, and a lot of the slack that he was getting throughout the various interviews that I got was the battle rappers don't think that he was trying to adapt to their new style, not new style, but the new style of battle rap. He's used to the older style of this way, that way, and his failure to adapt is what got him in trouble, because he can rap his ass off. He just didn't adapt to their way, and that's what got him in trouble. So it would be interesting to see him come back and see whether or not he tries to bring on some of those new tricks to his arsenal and see where it gets him. Now, I'm not saying dance around and do all of that. If that ain't you, that ain't you. But I don't really see. Name me a battle rapper that was up there chucking and jiving. Now, a lot of them go ahead and get animated with their lyrics, talk about the guns and talk about this, and I was spread. Right. And we all know that all that's for show. But tell me somebody that went up there and actually hooped and hollered and went crazy. You went, yo, that dude dancing. Yeah,
I mean, and here's what I'll say. To add on, I think he's great for the sport, though.
Cassidy. Yeah, I do too.
The marketability of it, the lore, Obviously they're still promoting, like you said, trying to get people to come in and still put it up on YouTube or something like that. We're going to keep selling these damn tickets and you got to come watch it. That's dope. I love how Smacking them did that over there. So yeah, man, I would love to see Cassidy get back in there again and hopefully redeem himself. Goods, I don't think will happen again, but maybe somebody else out there
again, honestly.
I would like to see Cassidy and Mook, even though I think they cool now. I think that'll be a long time coming. That'll be a dope battle. I think
I want to see Cassidy versus A Verb. I want to see Cassidy versus Surf.
Right.
I love to see Cassidy versus Hollow.
Right.
Whether any of those would happen or not, I don't know. Hitman Holla, that would be dope. I want to reach out to a couple other battle rappers, and if any battle rappers happen to watch this podcast in particular, reach out to us because you have an open platform to talk about whatever you want on here, man. Yeah. But hit a couple of them up and talk about this and just the culture in itself, man. I think it would be a great one-on-one discussion for sure.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You definitely tune into the Uncensored Truth podcast with your brother, Old God and Sam, man. We going to today on this Thursday, already Thursday, man.
Man, it's crazy. These weeks are flying.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Here at the end of May Gemini season all day. Shout out to all the Geminis out there. Sam and Katt Williams.
Yeah, man. So he was on Jamel Hill's podcast. Shout out to Jamel Hill a couple of days ago. Salute to Katt Williams, man. One of the greatest comedians of all time. We've talked about him a lot on this podcast over the year. Talked about a lot how I don't really think he likes viral hip hop news and the platforms a lot. I could be 100% wrong on that, but based off of little things, man, it just made me kind of get a little bit like, damn. But that being said, we got nothing but love for Katt Williams over here, one of the greatest comedians of all time. He dealt with a little bit of a situation this past year, or a little bit of 2018 as well. Was in court a couple times, got arrested maybe once, I believe. Yeah. Just some shit. Well, he talked about that a little bit, and a couple of things may surprise you. So I'm gonna play a clip of that and get your thoughts on it, Ogat.
Yes, sir.
You didn't miss a court date. That you didn't know that you were missing a court date. I should say that up front. But is that what happened?
Without giving away too much, in my search for who was this enemy that was causing all these things to repeatedly happen to me over and over again when it shouldn't, we uncovered that it was actually my people that was involved. So we didn't really know that until the Department of Justice started indicting these people for the embezzlement of $59 million from Katt Williams. So once that happened, everybody got fired, but in everybody getting fired, now their way of retaliation was to make sure that he doesn't get any of his information, that he, it's basically low class extortion.
But did you just say that you had $59 million embezzled from you by people in your own camp?
This is the only reason the Department of Justice and the IRS were all involved, is they thought that I have found some way to sequester the funds until they actually dug in and realized, why would I be money laundering my money?
Right, it's yours, right? You don't need to.
Right, so it's been a lot, and a lot of it you can't really talk about, and it's ongoing.
All right, just to stop it right there.
Yeah.
What do you think about that, man?
I think that's crazy. I mean, it's not surprising because it seems like, especially with us, it seems like I think Kevin Garnett, as well as a number of other people, have had situations where they entrusted other people with their wealth, and for whatever reason, they, misappropriated the funds, spent them, didn't pay the taxes on it. And, it just goes to show, man, the circle that you keep, the people all the way down, your lawyer, your publicist, your accountant, your assistant, everybody you have on the staff, man. It's almost like a football team. You want to be the Patriots, not the Browns or the Bengals. No disrespect to any of those teams out there.
Browns about to win, man. What you talking about?
Yeah, okay. But anyway, you want to just have that level, of security and trust, with them, that even in your death, that everybody still does things accordingly, because that's a lot of money, $50-something million. He said that, the authorities, IRS got involved. And if all that's 100% true, that's wild. That man, all my thing and our thing here in this podcast is lessons. And you don't got to be making millions of dollars, even on a lower scale. When you got a business and everything, you got to be careful with stuff like this. So
what a
man.
violating situation, man. Like like $59 million, and you got the IRS or the government on your ass. That's a situation like whoa. Only to find out that it's right up under your nose, man. That's the sickening part of making money in the fame. You know what I mean? You don't really know who to properly trust and who to properly know to intake all the wealth that you are putting upon yourself. I mean, obviously it's cool to have your inner circle, but when you talk about you need lawyers, we talk about you may need this publicist, we talk about you may need this manager and little people like that you're going to need in your circle, especially somebody like a Katt Williams who's out here touring, who's out here getting bookings, who's out here scheduling shows. He's going to need a team around him, always consistently signing contracts, I'm sure, need a lawyer and all that. And if these people aren't solidified, people that you're not 9 times out of 10 aren't going to grow up with, and they're doing dirty shit under your nose, man, it makes your trust just go to another level of just not fucking with anybody.
You almost got to have people, not to cut you off.
You're good, brother.
Lawyers that watch the lawyers, accountants that watch the accountants. You know what I mean? Somebody to get a second look. You know what I'm saying? Okay, man, all right, this is good. Can you just check this over to make sure that everything is on? Because it's just, you know, it's the time that we in right now. And us and Katt. And I'm not trying to take any shots at anybody, but a lot of times the reason why we get other people to do it because we don't quite know exactly. So that could open up an opportunity because they know for them to rip you off because they know you don't know. And you know, or they charge you for something outlandish or something you don't even really need. They made something. It's just a lot of things. So that trust factor, you know, and I think that's built up through experiences, obviously, and you know, seeing that, you know, when things happen, that they're you know, they show improve each and every time. So hopefully, you know, that's something that he can get worked out, you know, very, very soon. Katt's been through a lot, man.
I concur, brother. I concur. Well, one thing that we can't say about Katt is that he's not a funny motherfucker because he's one of the funniest people on this planet. We talked about comedians a couple of days ago on the podcast, Hollywood. I forgot what it was, but they put out their list of top comedians of the week or the month or whatever. Katt wasn't on that list, but so was a number of other great comedians. So we ain't even gonna get into that. One thing that he was continuing to talk about, though, in that excerpt was Katt Williams. Oh, God, he has a new comedy special coming up, man. It's on Netflix. He signed a nice little deal. And he's saying it's going to be the best he's ever done, better than Pimp Chronicles. Katt Williams is a funny ass dude. So, are you excited about that, man?
Yeah, definitely. Katt Williams special. Definitely. I'm 120% invested in seeing Katt Williams come back. You know what I'm saying? For whatever reason, he had his issues. He had to kind of fall back. I want to see him take the throne, you know, his rightful throne as being one of the kings of comedy. Not to say that he isn't, but going through all this stuff and, you know, lawsuits, lawyers and stuff, that's whack. Let's get in here. Let's get focused. Let's make this money. I definitely can't wait to check it out. You know, because for me, man, it's like, even though there's a lot of great comedians and you got to, you know, kind of sift through to find, I'm tired of the guys in mainstream now. I'm ready for, you know, to see guys like Katt Williams be thrusted back up, you know what I mean, into the mainstream and let him be the dude that say, okay, he represents us with the comedy, not these other cats, man.
And I mean, and that's no shade to anybody on top. That's no shade to Kevin Hart. And this is what I want to say. I had to say it because he's number one, and it is what it is. And I want to, and a lot of people they often compare Katt Williams to Kevin Hart. I don't like that. Let's stop competing. Let everyone be great. I mean, I'm sure they had their little back and forth. They have had their back and forth. We've reported it, and I hope all of that stops. I think Katt Williams is going to deliver far better product than Kevin Hart did on his Netflix special, which we talked about. And that's no shade to Kevin Hart because
it kind of is, though.
It's you know what? It's constructive criticism from a true fan of Kevin Hart. I support all of his movies, whether that I think they corny, whether I think they dope. I support him since he was Kev the Bastard. All of his journey through this, I had him when he was in Brigada and he was in the Music Box at the time, which is about 800 people. He wasn't even in the 3,000 person event yet. He wasn't even that big. Right. He's a down to earth, genuine dude. So I love to see where he's at right now. But I gotta keep it real. His comedy's gotten a little whitewashed when it comes to the mainstream and those live events. And that last comedy show on Netflix was almost painful to watch.
The whole whitewashing thing, though. Let's break that down a little bit. What does that mean, Sam, man? Somebody say, what do you mean?
He's being safe for the white folk. Woo! He's being safe so that he doesn't get money taken away. No stretch of the imagination. Am I saying that Kevin Hart is dancing or anything or playing around, because I think he's genuine in who he is. But he's definitely watching what he says to please the motherfucking people putting money in his pocket.
You blame him, though, Sam, man? Because a lot of us, let's have this conversation, because a lot of us sit back and we say this and that, and we say, oh, but if you had endorsements with New Era or Nike or Polo, and you wasn't going there and offend their demographic of people either, you would tiptoe through the tulips because these people are paying you to promote a product. So do we need to, as media, and kind of step down off our high horse and say, look, we, who are you? Because don't judge somebody if you're not in that situation. You would do the same thing. You're moving up. I'm not going to say anything that's going to lose my sponsors. I'm trying to build welfare. What do you say to the people who say that?
To you and the people, I'm not judging them. I'm not judging Kevin Hart on the decisions that he makes. I got to call it like I see it. People are tweeting out that this was the greatest Kevin Hart special of all time. Kevin Hart did it himself in promotion of it. I want to say the same thing. I can't as a fan because I didn't buy into it. The reason why I didn't buy into it is because of what I feel. Now, what Kevin Hart has been through, I don't wish upon anybody. He goes out here, he's saying what he's supposed to say. He's getting ridiculed for it. He can't do this. He can't do that. That fame and that light, I can commend anybody who can be in that light. But this is why a Katt Williams is so respected in the game. And even though he may have taken his hits and his lumps and, like you said, sitting back on his throne because it was at one time, Katt was the fucking man. And there were reasonings of why he's not the man now. Some were self-inflicted. He has to take a couple on the chin. Some for other various reasons. But I don't think he will ever be on the top again in mainstream because he will never conform and whitewash what he has to say. What we're going to enjoy about Katt Williams and what we miss about Kevin Hart is him giving us that raw, unapologetic comedy, no matter who the fuck he offends or what sponsor takes their fucking money off the table.
But what do you think that people say that's not accurate, Sam? Man, that's not accurate because how could you go to the heights that Kevin Hart went to? He had to pretty much keep his style the whole time. At what point did he whitewash Kevin now all of a sudden, or was he still saying all the same jokes his whole climb? At what point?
Whitewash. When I say whitewash, I mean he's watering down his jokes. His jokes are watered down. Not to
be as offensive to a certain.
Yeah, it's flat soda. He's sitting here trying to, in certain jokes, he's trying to make jokes that aren't necessarily funny. The highlight of it will play little things about his family and his life, which is funny. But then it's those other topics that he just won't kind of dive into that we know he wants to say. When he was sitting there battling and talking shit to Meek Mill, or getting with Jamie Foxx, or he was talking shit on this person or that person, and he was chocolate dropper. When he was just saying what he wanted to say back in 2011, and I know it's a different time, we enjoyed and responded to him differently because now, and I'm not mad at him. I understand. He's a millionaire. He's sitting on the top of his game for a reason. If he doesn't want his certain thing taken away, I'm not mad at him. But you can't deny it. He took away, he watered down some of his stuff. And I think that he kind of was fearful of what people were saying about him.
And the thing is, it always backfires to do that because then in the end, not to build no gloom doom stuff, they end up sticking it to you anyway. No matter, you could be the Bill Cosby. You could be, the roughest, toughest thug nigga ever in the world. They sticking it to you either way. So you might as well just keep it raw. Like Katt Williams or anybody else, Bernie Mac,
Mike Epps.
You know what I mean? Mike Epps. You might as well. I mean, what you gonna lose? A few million? So I hated to see when people water themselves down for those dollars and whatnot. I hate to see that. I say just be genuine and keep pushing, man.
Well, I tell you who another person that I feel like watered themselves down. You can call me bad for saying it or whatever. One of my favorites, Eddie Murphy. Woo. I feel like Eddie Murphy, one of the greatest. Nah, it's not a shot. You tell me if I'm lying. You go from a time where he did Delirious to Raw. Yeah. Even when he started going in the movies, Beverly Hills Cops, even though they were Hollywood, it was still Eddie Murphy in them joints. Harlem Nights. And then we remember The Nutty Professor. Even though he dressed as a woman, we weren't even thinking about that. It was raw comedy. It's kind of where we saw Dave Chappelle for the first time, Reggie, and that comedy was raw.
Yeah.
Then it kind of changed a little bit. Dr. Dolittle. B-movie, Norbit.
That's Hollywood for you.
B-movie. He watered down a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, that's when you play in somebody else's field, you got to go with their rules. Just is what it is, and what they want for you. Okay, we got these for you. Nah, you got a movie about this. Let's do this. Put this on. Bend over. Do a backflip. Do a handstand. Put a clown suit on, put a dress on. I mean, this is what it is. You know what I mean? Talk to animals, something like that. You know what I mean? So I don't know, man. I hate to, when that's not hating, we just calling it like it is. It just is what it is.
I love them all.
Yeah, we love
Eddie
them.
Murphy,
We love them.
Kevin Hart, and everybody. And I want to continue to see Kevin Hart win. I would love to see. We were talking about this months ago. A new Kings of Comedy or tour. If we can get Mike Epps, Kevin Hart, Cat Williams, Dave Chappelle, TK, and then get some of these young boys, the DC Young Flies, Carlos, to come up under them, Lil Duval, to all come up, you know what I mean, and just go and wreck show together.
Niggas be in just room fighting.
And that's a shame.
That's a shame. I hate to say it, but I would love, and I know there's people out there who put the bag up.
That bag would be crazy.
Oh my goodness.
That's
if they
comedy
like
history,
tour,
man.
yeah, that'd be history.
It's history.
What order? Who will go first, second, third? They'd be fighting over that probably.
I think they should switch cities. Whoever city you in, they go last. They shut down the show. You just flip it. Just keep it as even as possible.
Right.
We get a nice rotation. Everybody closes the show one night. Everybody opens the show one night. Do it like the Wayans do it. When the Wayans went on tour with the brothers, the four brothers,
right?
They split it. And I think even a couple of the nephews, they just split time. Certain people will close one night, certain people will close the other.
Right.
Keep all that nonsense out of it. Let's have a great show. Let's do it for the people. Like I said, you making history. That's Black history.
Right.
To have all those comedians on one stage tear it down.
Yeah.
Now, we were talking about a couple comedy shows that we went to throughout the fall. One of the knocks were the shit was too long. But I wouldn't mind sitting through a 2-hour show if you gave me 20 minutes of this person, 20 minutes of this person. Because the shit was smoking. When we seen that comedian, then Rob Stapleton came on and shut shit down. And then we seen TK, dope. When we continue to see a 2-hour
like
one dude, it's like,
your jaw start hurting for laughing so much. It's almost like you start to fake laugh.
Yeah, you're forcing yourself.
You're forcing yourself because you don't
nodding off and shit for all the food.
Right. It's not church.
Right.
Hour and a half. And they say, well, I'm winding down. They got another hour. Nah.
You remember those Sundays church from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. 12-hour.
They made us who we are today, but golly, I don't miss them. I miss the food and the stuff afterwards and the.
They used to have food during intermission. Go to Moe's Chicken, get a 30-piece with a pound of ketchup.
Man, wasn't nothing like church eating.
That's a fact.
Those were the days, man.
I had some other good church days too.
Yeah, man. But you tuned in a lot. We can't talk about it. It's uncensored, but we ain't talking about it. You tuned into the Uncensored Truth podcast with your brother, Old God, and Sam. Man, we going in today on this Thursday evening. We want to encourage everybody to tune in tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on YouTube, the Uncensored Truth podcast channel. We will be live going all the way in. Now, Chris Long announced his retirement from the Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles this year. He had 11 years
with a Super Bowl champion. One with them too. But go ahead.
11-year career. You know what I mean? He got the Walter Payton Man of the Year award. Everybody's always ranting and raving about not how he is on the field, but more so off the field. A lot of charity and everything. Well, he came out right after he retired from the Eagles and pretty much admitted that he'd been smoking marijuana.
Indeed, he was on a Dan Patrick show, courtesy of Dan Patrick. I'm gonna play the clip and we'll talk about it. Let's go.
Sir.
Out in front of medical marijuana for use by football players. I can't help but think of Ricky Williams if he was playing in today's game, Chris, because back then he just said, "Look, I want to have marijuana. I need it." Now we're looking at allowing players to do it. Where are we headed?
Well, we should be headed to a place where we allow players to enjoy what I would, not even call a drug. It's far less dangerous than guzzling a fifth of alcohol and going out after a day. Chances are the player won't even make it to the club to do this sort of thing that we all kind of wag our finger at when we hear about a guy getting in a fight or a DUI. We're never going to read about him sitting on the couch and binge watching Game of Thrones again. So I think from a standpoint of what's safer for people and the player, certainly people in the spotlight, it is. It is far less harmful than alcohol. It is far less harmful than tobacco. And at various points in the league's history, they have engaged in partnerships on different levels with, those respective industries. So I think that, I'm not a dry snitch. I'm not going to put a percentage on how much the league smokes, but I certainly enjoyed my fair share on a regular basis through my career. So, and I was never afraid to say that, but I'm able to say it more explicitly now. I mean, listen, if not for that, I'm not as stressors of day-to-day NFL life. A lot of guys get a lot of pain management out of it.
But what about testing, though, Chris?
Toradol did more pain management for me. I think the testing is arbitrary. The league, speaking plainly, knows damn well what they're doing. I mean, testing players once a year for street drugs, which is a terrible classification for marijuana, is kind of silly because players know when the test is. We can stop, and in that month or two that you stop, you're going to reach for the sleeping pills. You're going to reach for the painkillers. You're going to reach for the bottle a little bit more. On the weekend, you're going to have a few more drinks, and a few turns into a few too many, and it's just not the same. And if you're serious about players not smoking, you'd be testing more often. I hope they go the opposite direction and just kind of realize how arbitrary doing that one test a year is.
Man. Whew. He went in, man.
Yeah.
He broke that shit down. There's a whole many different ways we can go in here, but what you think about that?
Put the NFL on blast, man. Well, we already kind of knew. We always talked about this, what we probably figured was going on behind the scenes with the NFL. And we joked about saying, like, look, if Tom Brady smoked, he's passing every test. There's no way that they're going to, something's going to happen where he's going to pass the test, whether it be fake urine, they skip him, whatever. So, I 100% agree with it. I think that they should look into, the benefits of it, as opposed to, he also mentioned people going for sleeping pills, other alcohol, other substances to cope. I'm sure that's going on a lot in the NFL. We know when those guys get hurt, they get the shot. You know what I'm saying? They get, whatever the medication. Brett Favre had was addicted to pills. I'm sure he's not the only one. They need something. So if you got something that's safer, has more benefits, that can help your players, I think the NFL should really look, into that as something that they, maybe don't test for. Maybe not to say we allow it, but we just don't test for it as a way of saying. But on the other hand, you encourage things like alcohol, tobacco.
Yep.
These things have been proven to cause way more fatalities, way more medical problems than marijuana. We can have this debate all day long. So I'm glad that he did it. I'm glad that he spoke out about it and brought light to this, because it needs to be a conversation, I think, about this ASAP.
I'm so glad he did this, and he brought up so many things that hit real home to me, because I was in the club for 10 years. And a lot of the stories that I had shared with you were about NFL players. Because on Monday night, we had one of the premier spots to go to, and all the Eagles. We used to see the Eagles, the Redskins, the Giants, the Steelers. They used to all come down and get busy. And when I tell you, I seen stories from our favorite players, I seen it all. They got busy. And you think about the amount of wear and tear they're putting on their bodies. We're talking about from little league to high school to college to finally the NFL, nonstop train wrecks. Now their body's breaking down. There's only a certain amount of ways you can cope with the pain. And the pain eventually causes depression. And when you put a stranglehold on one of the things that cope and deal with all of those things, and you make that illegal and threaten people's pockets because of it and deem them a menace to society, but allow them to go out to the club and get destroyed and go in the bathroom and do whatever they want and come out and still play for you, and allow medical marijuana tests, not medical marijuana, because that's funny as hell when people say medical marijuana. Right. Because he wasn't smoking no goddamn medical marijuana. He was smoking some loud. Right. And that's cool. Yeah. Because it medically does the same shit. Y'all can put medical in front of it if you want to make it sound better. But everybody's smoking loud. Let's just keep it real. But it's seemingly they're allowing it to be that gateway because they're not allowing it to enforce the real problem. And they have to start changing it. And as you see it becoming legal throughout these various states, you're going to have to begin to make a change throughout sports, in particular your contact sports, because if it's helping and healing and keeping your athletes off of certain drugs, which could also lead to CTE damage and CTE complications throughout, because who knows what brain damage plus these chemicals are doing and combining, mixing together, what kind of cocktail they're putting in your head. So, I mean, the conversation has to be brought up more. You got a legal plant, something, a natural plant, something that's healing, something that's doing good and not killing anybody, yet it's such a bad stigma on it. It has to change. And I'm glad that white ass Chris Long said it.
Exactly.
I'm very glad. And I've always had a huge amount of respect for Howie Long.
Yeah.
His dad, Chris Long, has always kept it 100 throughout the Patriots. I think he started with the Rams and then with the Eagles, he finished out his career. Salute to him, man. I'm glad he said this. I'm glad he was out on the forefront to say it because they needed to hear that from him.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, man, definitely always a dope, conversation. We definitely want to hear what the people have to say about this wherever you listen to this podcast. But yeah, man, another episode of the Uncensored Truth podcast in the books, man. Y'all can tune into either one of the channels, Uncensored Truth podcast channel of Our Hip Hop News or Hip Hop News Uncensored, to catch each and every one of our episodes. Also, as you know, the full podcast will be on Spotify, Google Play, and iTunes for the people who like to listen to the full podcast. We do appreciate you, as you continue to engage, the content. But yeah, man, another episode. That's all I got on my end. Tomorrow night, Friday night, 8 p.m. Make sure y'all tune in. That's Eastern Standard Time. We'll be live on the air, getting it in, man. So yes, sir.
Real quick before we get out of here, oh God, NBA playoffs, Eastern Conference Finals tonight. Milwaukee Bucks versus Toronto Raptors. 5. Who you got, man?
Got the Bucks.
Got the Bucks game 5.
Yes, sir.
I got the Bucks too. I got them winning the 7. I said that. I think they'll win tonight. I think Toronto will finish out business at home in 6, and I think the Bucks will finish out at 7. You think either one of them stand a chance against the Warriors? We'll talk about it more tomorrow live, but real quick.
I doubt it.
Highly.
Nope.
A lot of people
Bucks may be better, but maybe a better matchup. But nah, I think 5, maybe 6. The Golden State's gonna win this year.
I don't think anybody's fucking stopping them. I don't care who's playing on the court with them. But they got that core squad together like they got right now. Durant, Boogie Cousins, love them, great players. They don't need them. The Warriors are ready.
That's even crazier. We're gonna talk about it though, man.
Indeed, man.
Definitely, man. Another episode in the books. We definitely appreciate y'all. It's your brother, Old God, over here. Hip Hop News Uncensored, the same man for our Hip Hop News.
Let's go.
You're listening to Red 609. We out of here, man.
Peace.
Truth uncensored, my whole network viral. 12 and a half get you a quarterback. I got them shits flying like spirals.